From just off the practice field here at the Star in Frisco, it's time now for some Cowboys update. I'm your host, Kyle Yeomans, where every week we go through the review and preview of the Dallas Cowboys season as they get their second half of the season underway this week. Now, the Cowboys are coming off of a bye week. Before the bye week in Week 9, they fell to the Arizona Cardinals. They fall to 3-5-1 after falling 27-17 in Week 9's edition of Monday Night Football. It was a game where turnovers and costly penalties in the first half spelled doom for the Cowboys as Arizona took advantage of those mistakes and the Cowboys end up on the losing side. It was also a bye week for the Cowboys where they had heavy hearts as they lost a loved one in Marshawn Kneeland. The 24-year-old edge rusher passed away earlier in the week, and the Cowboys had to mourn the loss of a friend and a teammate. It shakes the entire community, the entire organization, the Cowboys staff, Cowboys players, Cowboys coaches alike, especially when it comes to these teammates who have dealt with loss before, just like quarterback Dak Prescott, who had this to say on the matter.
I heard from Marshon, I heard for his family, I heard for his girlfriend, I heard for every single one of my teammates. This is a pain that you don't wish upon anybody. You wish none of us had to go through this. You wish Marshawn didn't have to go through what he went through. And just thankful for each moment we have in this life, and don't take it for granted. And hug and love on those that you do. It's okay to feel however you're feeling. And I'll tell you first and foremost, I don't always have the answers. And today's not a day that I felt like I had answers. Triggering day for many reasons, on top of just knowing that this was a had today, and hard to balance my emotions today, and not a day that I have words other than I love you for friends and families and people who may be struggling. Yeah, that I love them. Obviously, we had a Zoom call, and a few people that spoke did an amazing job, but as I said, it's tell that person how I feel about them when I see them. Tough moment for this team. As I said, I feel and hurt for everybody that's involved in this, and Marshon's families and loved ones.
Coach Brian Schottenheimer addressed the team on Monday, which included a couple new faces, such as Quinnen Williams, the star defensive tackle that was acquired on the trade deadline from the New York Jets. Cowboys give up a 2027 first-round pick, a 26 second-round pick, and Mozzie Smith to acquire one of the best defensive tackles in football. Also, Logan Wilson in the trade deadline acquired as well. Linebacker from Cincinnati, who was a former day 2 pick out of Wyoming earlier in his career. He had over 100 tackles in 4 seasons with the Cincinnati Bengals. Heimer spoke earlier in the week, closer to the trade deadline, about how excited he is to add these two to this Cowboys defense.
Yeah, it's exciting. Just, kudos to, Jerry and Steven and Will. And, I think, being aggressive but smart because, a couple of the moves we made, you're getting guys not just for this year but beyond, which I think is great. And it gets you excited as a coach. And I think it's two terrific players, but also terrific young men. And I've talked to Logan. Still need to reach out to Quinnen, but excited to see both those guys here and get them welcome to the family.
Along with those new faces acquired via the trade deadline, the Cowboys might be getting some help back on the defense as well. DeMarvion Overshown is expected to make his season debut since suffering a torn ACL, PCL, and MCL last December after he had a breakout campaign in 2024 at the linebacker spot. Overshown's presence has been missed at the second level of Matt Eberflus's defense. He may not be alone. Savone Revel, it might be a little more hard-pressed to see Savone Revel this week against the Las Vegas Raiders, but his 21-day practice window is coming to a close as well. Stephen Jones telling 105.3 The Fan earlier this week that if it's not this week against the Raiders, you can expect to see Savone Revel coming up very shortly, possibly against the Philadelphia Eagles in 2 games for this Cowboys team as they continue their trek to the back half of the schedule. So with all the improvements on the defensive side, additions via the trade deadline, additions as guys come back from injury, there's a lot of hope on the back half of the schedule for the Cowboys, but it starts this week on Monday Night Football as they turn their attention to the Las Vegas Raiders. Dallas making their first regular season trip to take on the Raiders in franchise history to Las Vegas, specifically since they moved from Oakland a couple seasons ago. Raiders are coming off of a loss at the hands of the Denver Broncos on Thursday Night Football, so Las Vegas has a little extra time to get rested and back in the fold as well. They fell 10-7 to Bo Nix and company. The Raiders have a new look rushing attack thanks to Frisco, Texas product, Lone Star High School product, Ashton Jeanty, who was, of course, an early first-round pick. He's put together a great rookie campaign. Guys like Brock Bowers have made an impact as well at the tight end position. The Raiders have some overall opportunity to get their offense going against this Cowboys defense, despite some of the new additions on Matt Eberflus's side. My key for the Cowboys to get a Week 11 win, you got to slow down Ashton Jeanty. You know he's going to be amped and ready to play against his hometown team this week. He played a lot of games right behind me at the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco. He'll have an opportunity to make an impact at home out in Las Vegas against the Raiders, with the Raiders against the Cowboys this week. We've got plenty of ways for you to catch up on your Cowboys content. Go ahead and download the Cowboys Now app if you have not already. So some exclusive content on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV as well. You've got an entire slate of podcasts you can enjoy as well, starting every day at 8 a.m. Central Time with Girls Talk, Boys Talk, followed by Talking Cowboys and so on and so forth. Something for everybody on the Cowboys podcast schedule. And then this week, Monday from the Star in Frisco, 6 p.m. start time for Cowboys pregame live. You can catch me with Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, and Nate Newton on the pregame show and postgame coverage this week as the Cowboys take on the Las Vegas Raiders. That does it for us here from outside Ford Center and off the practice field at the Star in Frisco. I'm your host, Kyle Yeomans. We'll see you next week with more Cowboys Update.